All right, guys. Good morning. Happy Monday. I hope you guys are doing good and you had a great weekend. Let's go ahead and get started with lesson 14. Lesson 14 tells us I can associate the ordered pair with each ratio and plot it in the x and y coordinate plane. Okay. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at ratio tables. Okay, finding ordered pairs in those ratio tables, which will be x and y. Okay, and we'll get into that later, always in parentheses, and we're going to plot those points, those ordered pairs, on a graph, okay, on a coordinate plane. Okay, so for example, we're going to have a coordinate plane that looks like this. Say I have a ratio of 1 to 3. Okay, I complete my ratio table, 2 to 6 and 3 to 9. Okay, I'm only going to go three rows. I'm going to plot my points, 1, 2, 3. Okay, the first column in the ratios are going to represent the x, which is the horizontal axis on our coordinate plane. The y is going to be the vertical axis. I'm going to label these 3, 6, and 9. Okay, and then I'm going to plot my points. Each of this ordered pair would be 1, 3. So I'm going to go up 1, or over 1, up 3. This is going to be 2 and 6. We'll go over 2 up to 6, and then 3, 9. I'm going to go over to 3 up to 9. Okay? Then I could draw a line to represent my slope, and we are complete. Okay? Make sure you plot your points before you draw your slope. Okay. Kelly is traveling by train with her soccer team from Yonkers, New York to Morgantown, West Virginia for a tournament. The distance between Yonkers and Morgantown is 400 miles. The total trip will take 8 hours. The train schedule is provided below. Okay, so she leaves Yonkers. Okay, she passes through these towns and it takes her 400 miles to get to Morgantown. Okay? Well, it takes her 8 miles to get there. Okay, the second table is leaving Morgantown and back to Yonkers, which obviously is going to take her 400 miles too, and they're stopping in the same towns, just in reverse order. Okay, so in all, it's going to take her 16 hours to go from Yonkers to Morgantown and back. Okay, so it's telling us the distance between Yonkers and Morgantown is 400 miles. The total trip will take 8 hours. Okay, so if I write a ratio 8 to 400, okay, this would be hours to miles. Okay, how could we simplify this? Well, we can divide 400 by 8, okay, and it would give us 50. So for every 1 hour, they are going 50 miles. So they are going 50 miles per hour. Okay, all we did was figure out how many miles they traveled in 1 hour. Okay, so let's move on. It says create a table to show the time it will take Kelly and her team to travel from Yonkers to each town listed in the schedule, assuming that the ratio of the amount of time traveled to the distance traveled is the same for each city. Then extend the table to include the cumulative time it will take to reach each destination on the ride home. So looking at these tables, if they're going 50 miles per hour, okay, how long would it take them to go 100 miles? Well, it's going to take them 2. 200 miles is going to take them 4. 300 miles is going to take them 6. 400 miles is going to take them 8 hours, like we know. Okay, now when they're leaving Morgantown back to Yonkers, okay, 100 miles more is going to take them 10 hours. 12 for 200 miles more, 14 and 16. And this is what we're going to write on this is what I'm going to write on my table, okay? So I'm going to go 2, 100, 4, 200, 6, 300, 8, 400, 10, 500, 12, 600, 14, 700, and 16, 800. Okay, so there you have it. We extended our table to include the ride home. Okay, so there's 16 hours in total and 800 miles. Okay, and our ratio is still 1 to 50. The value of this would be 1 over 50. Okay, let's move on. So so number 2 deals with the double number line. We haven't gone over double number lines, but I want to go over it because just in case you go over it in a MAPS test, okay, or in a state assessment, if you ever see a double number line, they're pretty simple. I don't really enjoy using them. Okay, so it says create a double number line diagram to show the time it will take Kelly and her team to travel from Yonkers to each town listed in the schedule. Then extend the number line diagram to include the cumulative time it will take to reach each destination on the ride home. Represent the ratio of the distance traveled on the round trip to the amount of time taken with an equation. Okay, so we're going to start as 0. Okay, the top line is going to represent hours. The bottom's going to represent miles. Okay, we're going to start off with 2, 100. 4, 200. I am just adding the information from my table onto the double number line. This is just another tool you can use, okay, to display your data. Okay, if you see this on an assessment, on a test, okay, you will be familiar with it. Okay, you won't ever see these on any of my tests. Okay, I prefer tape diagrams. Okay, so using the information from the double number line, how many miles would be traveled in 1 hour? Well, in 2 hours, they're traveling 100, and we know the ratio is 1 to 50. So in 1 hour, they are traveling 50 miles. Okay, how do you know? Well, if the train is moving at a constant speed, half of 2 hours is 1 hour. And half of 100 is 50. Okay, let's move on, guys. We're doing good. So, looking at example 1, it says dinner service starts once the train is 250 miles away from Yonkers. What is the minimum time the players will have to wait before they can have their meal? Okay, so they are on the train. Okay, they can't eat until the train goes 250 miles. So let's look at this table first. Where do you think 250 miles would go if it were on the table? Well, it's going to go between 200 and 300. Okay, say I have 250 there. So how many hours would it take if they're going 50 miles per hour to go 250 miles? Well, we would do 250 divided by 50, and that would give us 5. Okay, so it would take us 5 hours to get 250 miles. Okay, so the minimum time that they would have to wait is 5 hours. Okay, and let's look at the graph. So they plotted all their points that they have on their table. Okay, so 2 hours, 100 miles. They made that into an ordered pair. Remember, an ordered pair is X and Y. Hours is going to represent the X axis. Okay, that's the horizontal. Y is going to represent the vertical. Okay, 2 and 100 is going to go here. Okay, 4 to 200, 6 to 300, 8 to 400, 10, 12 to 600, 14 to 700, and lastly 16 to 800. Remember, you go over to the X on the X axis first, and then you go up to the Y. So I'm going over to 2, and then up to 100. Going over to 4, up to 200, because I'm following the ordered pairs on my table. Okay, so now that we know this, where would 5 hours and 250 miles go? Well, I know 5 hours would go between 4 and 6. Okay, and 250 would go in between 200 and 300. Okay, so I'm going to mark this with pink. This is going to show the time they are able to eat, okay? And it's going to be right there. Okay, dinner. And this is plotted at 5 and 250. If you have any questions about graphs, okay, just remember an ordered pair is X and Y. Okay, X is going to represent the first number in your ratio. Y is going to represent the second number in your ratio. You're going to go over horizontal first for X and then up for Y to plot your points. Okay, so lesson summary. A ratio table, equation, or double number line diagram can be used to create ordered pairs. These ordered pairs can be graphed on the coordinate plane as a representation of the ratio. Okay, so let's look at this table. It says y equals 3x. Okay, I'm going to scratch out the zeros because we don't need those. Okay, so what are we doing to x to get y? Well, we're multiplying by 3. Okay, everything in the x we're multiplying by 3. That's why they came up with this equation. Whatever number is in the x column, they're always going to multiply it by 3 to get y. Okay, so we got our ordered pairs here from the table. Okay, first number x, second number is y. Okay, first number in the ratio, second number in the ratio, and then they plotted their points. Okay, they drew their equation there. All right, guys, this is you're gonna get a problem set. Okay, that looks like this. It says complete the tables of values to find the following. Find the number of cups of sugar needed. If each pie Carrie makes, she has to use 3 cups of sugar. Okay, so you're going to, the ratio here is obviously 1 to 3. 1 to 3, you're going to complete your table. Okay, and then you're going to label your graph. Remember, X is going to be pies, Y is going to be cups of sugar. Okay, so make sure you label these correctly. Okay, I can go 1. I can skip a line in between numbers. Okay, if you don't like that, you don't have to. Okay, and then here I'm just going to count up by 3s. Okay, 3, 6, because I am completing my table. Okay, and then plot your points. The same thing for number 2. It says write a story context that would be represented by the ratio 1 to 4. So come up with your own context to represent 1 and to represent 4. Complete the table. Okay, and then just know all of these are going to be ordered pairs, X and Y. All right, and then label your graph and plot your points. All right, guys, have a great day. Comment if you have any questions. Okay, see you later.